But yeah, I think the discussion on just
Oh,
here we
Are we
go.
live?
Yeah,
right
this
into
is
it.
it.
It's
Oh, look at
right
that.
into
And we get this. This is perfect. Get to see you front and center on this other thing over here. Can we hide that? There we go. I was able to do that. We're live, and we've got the ultimate guest here.
Oh no.
Yes, Mr. Chase Ingraham.
A guest.
A guest.
Pretty big get, I think.
We've got, I think, if we think about what you've done in the space or what you currently do, so you're is it the Southwest rep? Is
South
that right?
Central.
South Central
South
affiliate,
Central rep. Yes.
affiliate rep. You run the Sport of Fitness podcast.
Yes.
You announce the CrossFit Games and
Yes.
a number of the other events. You've got your own podcast, Get With the Programming.
Yes.
Former seminar staff member, former games athlete.
former.
Hey, I mean,
we're all pretty much former at this point.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the documentary that just came out just brought back all those memories, dude. How cool was that?
That was super cool. I remember. Do you guys know Elliot Trott? So
I
don't know if I know
stuff. Like he's
Okay.
old. He's like OG.
Yeah,
media guy from South Central regional area. He used to go to like CrossFit Central. I think he's still in Austin now. But he came to my house. Well, Tyson had reached out. He's like, hey, we want to follow you for a day and a half and just like do it a day in a life. I was like, why? It's like so many more interesting people that I've been inspired by in CrossFit that to do this. And that was, man, I can't remember. That was almost like a year ago when they came in. Maybe it's earlier this year. Tyson Oldroyd we were talking back and forth, and I hadn't heard anything about it. So in my head, I was like, okay, good. We didn't.
They captured it. They saw how boring I was, and they were like,
they're like, listen, we can't do anything with this. So they, when it came out, it was really cool because like the list you made is like, yeah, I've been really fortunate to be able to do a lot of things in CrossFit, around CrossFit, and for CrossFit. And that has always been a goal of mine since I started CrossFit, because starting CrossFit changed everything for me. And so being able to be more involved, which is like why we all were red shirts, like meeting my first red shirt, which was Todd Widman, when I had maybe been doing CrossFit for 3 or 4 months, like just working out, no aspirations to coach, no aspirations to compete. Didn't even know the games were a thing. I just met a buddy who's fitter than I, and I was pissed, and I'm competitive. And I was like, there's no way you're going to look better than me. You've never looked better than me.
What year was it?
I like the fact that you didn't even mention there's no way you're stronger than me or faster than me. It's just you look better, because that's why we work out, right?
That's where I was in my life. This was 2008, so I just turned 26. Maybe I was 25 at the time. And this is a guy I swam with in college. So we're probably like 2 or 3 years moved. In college, he was just a soft dude. He was a really fast swimmer. Swimmer body types are weird. Like it's not a one size fits all kind of a stroke. It's odd. And I see him 4 years later, and like he has abs. It's like he's never had those. And I was like, okay, because at the time I was doing triathlons, but I was kind of like skinny fat. And like my dad is this like Herculean middle linebacker from like the 70s and 80s. And I was like, why don't I look like you? Like, why do I have to look like mom?
He probably wasn't a swimmer. That probably had something to do with it.
That's true. And it's funny, like he would say the same thing. It's like, why don't you look like me? What is going on? You're my firstborn. We're supposed to carry the torch. And so I see my buddy, Justin Smith, and he looks like everything I was wanting at the time. I was looking at, you guys remember like Velocity? Do you remember that gym?
No.
It's like a sports performance gym.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was looking at that personal training. I was like, what? Because like running and biking and swimming ain't getting what I want. Right? I need some mass, but in a good way. And it's like, what have you done to yourself? And he's like, I just do CrossFit. And this was a Saturday morning. I was coaching like a little kid swim team at the time. And I was like, all right, I'll see you on Monday. And that was it. And then I met Todd. He came to the gym because he was teaching a level 1, and he knew Spencer Nix. That was the first gym I went to. And meeting Todd Widman for the first time, people say this, the kids say this a lot, is aura. Like the aura that Todd Widman filled this hallway when I met him for the first time, like that, I would probably say that meeting Todd Widman put me on the path to coaching CrossFit.
Oh,
I didn't know
cool.
it at the time, but I just felt whatever he had, I wanted to be a
I
part
want a
of.
little bit of that.
Yeah, I want
Yeah.
some of that.
Did
Isn't
you
it-
know what being on seminar staff was, or the level ones or anything at that time? Because you said you're only a
No.
couple months in, and
Yeah, not at
So-
that time, but you just something felt different.
yeah,
And so the way Todd's presence, the way he makes you feel like the only person in a room with 100 people in it. The way he shakes your hand, the way he looks you in the eye, the way he talks to you, like you're like, wow, I feel like the most important person in the world to you right now. And I was like, whatever you are, whoever you are, and what you do, I want that. Yeah, I want that. And yeah, that was my first meeting
that's
with
pretty
Todd.
cool.
Isn't it? I think it's amazing how they had Todd on the West Coast that had that exact thing, and then you had Chuck on the East Coast.
Yes.
And it was the exact same experience and the same feeling. And I always joke that it's like if you did a level 1, from 2008 to probably 2014, anywhere on the East Coast and any weekend, Chuck was there. I don't know how it was possible for him to be in New York and Virginia and Florida and Atlanta all in the same weekend, but he was there.
Yes.
And had the same impact on you and like changed your life and made you want to be that kind of trainer and do whatever they're doing.
Do you guys remember your level 1 staff?
I do.
Oh, yeah.
Chuck was my flow master. Chuck was there. Yeah.
I remember all of them.
Yep.
I got my level 1 in 2009. But it was Chuck.
He was there.
Too.
He was at every one of them. Go ahead.
Were you in Texas when you did it?
Yes, this is in Texas.
Okay, so it was Chuck, and who else?
Chuck, Lance Cantu.
Oh, Lance, yep.
Mike G.
Uh-huh.
Pat Sherwood. Joe Alexander.
Squad. That's
Dude.
a crew.
Yeah, right.
I got so lucky. I mean, that's a crew where you spread them out over the world on a weekend so that someone's running a tight ship. Well, I had them all in one. And that was my first meeting with Chuck for the first time. And I was just like listening. I could listen to all of those guys talk for hours. My level 1.
Every time Joe Alexander starts talking about anything, I'm in. I may not even understand what he's saying, but I still am like, I'll just keep listening.
The hands bring you in.
That's the whole experience of the level 1, especially back then when everything was so new that you didn't have time to absorb most of it. So I just remember sitting there, same deal, just nodding in agreement, not knowing anything they're talking about.
I didn't write it.
That's what we say still, right? Where it's not about the information. It is about the information, but people are going to remember so much more leaving that weekend, how we make them feel all weekend. Like, how did they feel? And obviously it's the same with coaching, all the things we talk about with everybody on here. It's like, how do people feel when they leave your class? And that ultimately is what it's all about. And that's what Chuck brings, and Mike G and Joe and all these guys that, to your point, we learned from. Like, I want to do whatever they're doing. I remember working in level 1 pretty early on, and Chuck was the flow, and we're doing our lunchtime workout. Participants are like all the way on the other side of the gym. We're just, getting bars. And I yawned, and Chuck looks at me and he's like, "You good?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he just basically was like, pretty much was like, "Don't do that." I'm like, copy that. Noted. Like, just stifle the yawn, turn around. Don't let the participants see that you're tired or bored or anything.
And that was the sole goal of like all of us. I love that we've all worked together in that setting too. You're not just going up there doing your 20, 30-minute movement lecture or theory lecture and then going to the breakout group. And we're just like, we're not performers in Vegas just hitting the 6 o'clock show, 7 o'clock show. Like, I am so emotionally exhausted after the first day because of how invested we are in these people. And it's not a chore. It's not a heavy lift. It is so gratifying to be able to do that. And then, we've all experienced this is 10, 15 years down the road. The coolest thing someone can say to me is, "You did my level 1."
Right.
And I might not remember you because it's been a while and there's been a lot of you. But if you give me time, place, and location, I can put it all together.
Yeah,
That's the
right.
way.
It's always
I
like,
always got, where were we? Do you remember who else was there? And as soon as I get a little bit of context, then I can start remembering
Yep.
the weekend. And
yeah, I'll usually guess my way there. Was it Orlando? Was it Orlando? I'm pretty
Yeah.
good with faces. Names I'm not as good with, but usually it's this, and then they'll say something, and then same deal. It's like you can remember the trainers that you were with, and maybe
Yeah.
something unique that happened on that specific weekend. And that's huge. That's cool.
So much
Yeah, I think it's neat. And I think just the little piece that they did on you, like there was a lot more of that came out on the trainers and the seminar staff.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know if you remember like the Todd and Boz experience where they'd go around essentially like, it sounds like how you met Todd, where they'd be doing a level 1 in a town and they would show up at the gym on Friday night and they'd get video footage of them coaching. I remember like obsessively watching that, the Zone Chronicles with Sherwood and Chuck, and watching all of that kind of stuff. So really cool to see, just to reminisce and remember that kind of stuff. And then to see your content come back up, this video show back up. And now all of a sudden it's like some of this stuff is starting to show back up. And so hopefully we can start the process of inspiring some people to want to be more than games athletes and want to be trainers.
And that's, yeah, the video is super cool where they like pulled all like old stuff. And, I don't know, it was a good, and oddly enough, the videos are just kind of about my personal reset with CrossFit training and just getting back into shape. And it's not like it's some massively difficult journey. It's not like I was trying to lose 300 pounds or some type of ailment or injury. That was just, there was just like my life thing was a deal. But it was really important to see that, because I have come a long way from that, it's been really fun. Like I love working out again. I just got in a bad spot with just burnout and injury and just me self-sabotage, right? It's like I see the check engine lights on and I'm still powering through that thing, which was great when I was 26, right? Like that's how I got to the games, is because I could put myself in that position. But I'm 43 now, like 17 years of trying that. Like, you're going to have to back off a little bit. And we say this a lot all the time, is like your physical and psychological tolerances is just really how you dictate your intensity for the day and how you train and how you present yourself, even as a coach for athletes too. And I was like, nah, just keep driving into this wall and maybe something will change.
Yeah, I love the check engine light analogy, because you're right. When you're 25, 26, you can drive a lot further with that light on.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't need oil in this car.
Yeah, I'm good. I got a lot of miles left on this bad boy.
To be honest with you, I'm impressed that you were able to keep the gas pedal down even when you felt that way. Like that's super impressive. And I know when I first got on staff, when I would work, we worked with you and other people that were going to the games consistently. Like the first thing that I would ask people is like, how do you convince yourself to train that hard day in and day out? It's like, I want to go to that dark place like once a quarter. Right. Even back then, it was like
maybe in the open once.
Yes. Nowadays, maybe in the open. But back then, it was like maybe once every 2 weeks, I would really try to empty the tank. I was like, man, for you guys to train that hard and get to the games every year, like you had to do that pretty much every day. And I just couldn't believe it. Didn't understand the willpower for that. Yeah.
And it's more of like, this is like a rules for thee and not for me situation, or like a do as you're told, not
as I do.
Yeah, exactly. And like the prototypical coach of like, stop. I was like, you're tired, take the weight off. Let's have a low intensity day today. Like I can tell. And in my head, I'm like, I'm going to keep going no matter what. And the amount of that I've learned from that, it's been so fun to come full circle of the day I stepped into my level 1, whereas like intensity is the most valuable piece of the puzzle. And it's relative across what the modality that you're working through. It's not like, hey, it's a 30-minute workout when we have like Fran intensity.
Right.
Like learning all of those things, like relative intensity is the most beautiful thing to explain to someone new to CrossFit. And a lot of older heads should probably revisit what that really means.
Right. Yeah.
And to go through the last couple of years, like, man, I have never felt better like today. It's the best I felt physically in years, because it's just, I'm doing my one workout a day and I'm hitting it. I'm moving well. If I'm not feeling it, I back off a little bit and I come back to fight again the next day. And I take my rest days or rest days. And it's been so nice to come back to what it was all meant to be.
Yeah, it's funny how you have to almost experience it yourself to believe that it works.
Yeah, is what I'm saying
You're
really.
like, wait a second. This actually makes sense. A rest day makes me feel better and allows me to go harder the next day. Huh.
And I want to dig into that a little bit more of like how, like, what was that transition? Because I think, most of the people listening to this are coaches, and we get a lot of questions around how do I deal with that athlete that doesn't want to scale, that's always going too hard, that, I tell them they need a rest day. Or for us as individuals, where it's like, you've probably maybe experienced and seen as a coach of like, you get to a point where maybe you're not, and this is where I want to go, like excited about the open because you probably know you're not as fit as you should be or as you want to be. And so now you're going to like poo-poo on the open and like not encourage people at your gym to do it just because you don't want to do it and expose yourself. So how do you transition from being the hard charger that's really concerned about your performance, and then to finally be like, hey, I need to train another day. And it's way more important to feel good than it is to have the best score, especially if you're not making any money doing this. I get it if it's your livelihood, but for you and I and Kristen, it's like, ain't nobody paying my bills based on my, 4-minute
how many
Fran
muscle
time.
ups I get at the end of that.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say is the check your ego at the door sign goes for coaches double.
Yeah.
Because you want to be the one that shows people like, hey, look, this is
Right.
this is what you can achieve, right?
Yeah. And at the same time, when it comes to how you not as how you coach, but how you lead by example. And so the most inspiring coaches, in my opinion, are that ones that I've had the pleasure of being coached by. Is like they were never. It's like I think all of my favorite coaches were just like out of shape old dudes who used to do it in the past, but they're just amazing coaches, right? They were present, they were dedicated, and you can feel that everything they were giving you, whether it was positive feedback or constructive criticism, was from a place of care and love, and where you can tell that they've gone through maybe something like that. So they're trying to help you. It's like a parent. Like,
right.
I never understood my parents or my dad's discipline until I became a father. And I'm like, oh, damn. It's like every day that goes by, I was like, I should apologize for this. This thing when I was 16 thinking I knew everything about the world. But the part that I've enjoyed the most, and when you're working with athletes that are really gun-ho about it, is that like you have to get down on their level so they can hear what you're saying. And for me, like my son's 7, my daughter's 5, and I coach all of their sports. And I do mean all of their sports. And getting down to their level sometimes literally means getting on your knees to be eye level with a 7-year-old boy. And you're just like, listen, here, like, I need you to focus on this. But you come from a place where you're not talking down to them. Obviously, they're small, so that's intimidating. But even in a gym, like, you're the coach. We know what it feels like to walk into a gym for the first time and see the coach. They might as well be 12 feet tall.
Right.
Like when I met Todd just filled the room. Right. And so when you're a new athlete, like, that's an intimidating thing. The CrossFit gym is an intimidating place for a new person.
No matter how physically capable you are.
No matter what.
Period. Yes.
And so if the coach is there as like a demonstrative, do this, right? There's a time and a place for that. But when it comes to the athlete, who is usually the athlete that is struggling with the whole intensity or how hard should I go, they're either new or they have an ego or a drive that maybe we need to understand and channel better. And so my favorite thing is getting on their level. We talk about a coaching chameleon all the time. Is, okay, why are you the way you are? Let's figure that out first.
That's deep. That's gonna take some layers. There's gonna take some connection to figure out that,
thing, right? Once you start layering in your coaching versus dumping it all on them, like that, if you just throw everything at them as like, do this, do that, stop doing this, like someone who is massively driven to success, like they've already got walls up because it's served their purpose up to this point. Or the new person who is like totally naked and exposed. Either way, if you're going against a hard barrier of someone who is just really difficult to work with, you're just going to harden that shell that they already have. That's why it's there. Or if the new person and they're completely exposed, now you're just going to hammer them with no protection at all. So it's like, okay, how do you get to each one? Well, it's always a steady approach. Like, okay, why are you so adamant of going RX or die? It's like, because they like just hear their answer. It's like, I get it. I tell you what, I know you want to get there. This is the path to get there. Just give it a shot. Like you have to build that trust with the athlete of you're not taking a step back. I know it feels like you're taking a step back. Apparently scaled is a dirty word. Whoever put that in your brain, right? And by the way, the world of RX plus and RX is also bullshit. You're just moving goalposts for the sake of like semantics.
Yeah, and we can
this
go down a rabbit hole for
go
that.
down a
Yeah,
rabbit hole,
we could spend 40
wouldn't
minutes
RX
talking about that.
Just be RX'd and then RX be the
Right.
scale.
There's either whatever it is, and then there's everything else. But to be able to get to their why is a huge deal. Like it's the number one. And all you coaches out there, because I want to get stronger is not their why. That's the why they're giving you without giving you actually what the real answer is. So for example, the only people I personal train these days are all over the age of 80.
Oh, I love it. That's my favorite.
And it's
Like
it's my
they're
favorite
pushing RX for sure. What's the workout weight? Yeah, give me what's the workout weight supposed to be? Okay,
my RX plus
225.
87-year-old lady's just pulling 225 on the floor.
Love it.
So it was one of my members, and she's like, hey, my mom, she's getting older. At the time, I think she was like 83, 84. And I just want her to, look, we know that as you age, especially for like women, is like bone density is a huge thing, like osteoporosis, joints, muscle mass for anybody. Like that's the key to aging, is having that. And so when we first met, and this is where you guys got to dig into the why, not just hear the first answer. Like it was, I just want to get stronger. I was like, okay, I just want to get stronger will not keep you in the gym, because if that's the only why I know, and that's the only why I was like, hey, remember you said you wanted to get stronger. That's not going to keep me in the gym. I want to lose weight is not going to keep you in the gym. That's not a real why. I need to work on my endurance. Like that's not going to keep you in the gym.
I want to tone up.
Right.
Tone up. That's the number one I hear.
So like
I
just
like
like
to
to
tone
surface level. And so I was like, okay, why do you want to get stronger? He's like, well, I'm getting older and I know my doctor said it was important. I was like, I get it. Yeah. Like what happened? Something like everyone had a moment. Like, why do you want it? It's like, okay, well, last year I've ridden my horses my entire life. I was like, okay. Last year was the first year someone had to help me onto my horse. And I was like,
there it is.
That's your why. That's why you want to get stronger. That will bring you back to the gym, because I want to have an independent life for as long as I can. Again, this is an 87-year-old woman example, but it's like, okay, now we know why you want to get stronger. Now, when we do these things, I'm going to tell you why this fits your why.
Right.
It's like, well, why are we doing box step-ups today? It's because you get into a stirrup to get into the horse. Why are we hanging from a pull-up bar? Because it's going to strengthen and lengthen your arms and keep everything tight. Why are we doing ring rows? Because all of that together will get you back onto the horse.
Yeah.
Right now, that's not the only thing we do, but that why keeps them coming back. So for a coach and a member, whether they're stubborn or shy, you got to find the real why of that's why they're at where they're at. And then once you figure that out, you just feed that why. I want to go to the CrossFit Games. Okay. Well, you need to back off like smashing and grabbing these.
We got to get the Fran under 8 minutes, and let's see how that goes.
Step one.
Why is that important? It's like, well, you just got to, and it's every gym member you have is a Rubik's Cube, and you just got to figure out, like which order of things to go in. And I think if you go that route, man, that just, coaching cues aside, doesn't matter. hey, get your elbows around. It's like, if you find all of your members why, the amount of trust they're going to have with you, and then they'll start listening to you because they know you understand them. Because if they don't think you understand them, why would they listen to anything you tell them to?
100%. Yep.
And then, coaching cues and progressions like that's easy.
That is the easy part.
That's the
right?
easy part.
Yeah. This is the harder part about coaching that I think a lot of coaches underestimate the importance of.
Mhm.
Just having those extra conversations, extra connections, and it becomes easy to ask, like, well, I have this member that's not listening when I'm trying to scale, or they don't want to be coached, or they tell me they don't want to be coached. And it's always, a lot of times
Yeah.
it's easy to put it on the member and make it the member's fault. Like, it's their personality, whatever the case is. And there's just simply not that trust there yet. Like, we haven't developed a rapport yet. Or to your point, like, have you ever had a conversation with them, and do you really even
Right.
know what motivates them?
Outside of like, take weight off the bar.
Right.
I will say though, every once in a while, that son of a bitch shows up at the gym that you just can't work with.
For
Right.
sure. Yeah.
Every once in a while.
Yes. Less often than we
figure it out.
think.
You got to
Yes.
figure out if that is the person. You're like, all right.
Yeah, but a lot of times that guy shows up and we're quick to think like, oh, he's just that guy.
Right.
When really maybe he's just a little harder to
Mhm.
break the shell, but it's still there.
Usually
we
that
just
person is the
continue-
most insecure person in the gym. And that's the person you actually need to get on board the
Yep.
most.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we talk about this is that's usually the deep down why for people pushing back is that like insecurity of that. Like,
Right. And you're already in a
place
tough
that
place to be.
yeah, that makes you feel
What
super
you
insecure
think.
in general. Yeah.
Right. In my opinion, and I don't use safe space like others use safe space. There's no better place in the world, in my opinion, to fail than in a CrossFit gym.
Because everybody does it. It's one of the
Everybody does
only
No one
places.
cares.
Yes, it's one of the
No one
only
cares.
places where it's
It's
completely
expected.
accepted. It's expected. It's accepted, and you see the failure, and then you're like, oh, if I just show up tomorrow and work on this a little bit more, I'll get better at it.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's celebrated.
Yes.
When I
And-
see the wheels come off, I'm like, Dad, we found it today, didn't we? Or like, I couldn't PR today. I missed over and over. I was like, yeah, you did, but you kept going. You kept going for it. And we found out where the issues are. So 6 months down the road, we'll try it again.
And to circle back to your point of like, we as the coaches that everybody looks up to when they walk into the gym, we have to be the example. If you're afraid to show that vulnerability, if you know you're going to suck at a workout, so you don't do it, or you do it in your own time, not in class, and don't post your scores, you're missing out on the opportunity to show everybody that this is the place where everybody's going to fail, and it's okay to fail. And you can put yourself out there and be like, yep, I'm at the very bottom of the leaderboard. You guys see that? I didn't set a PR. I'm terrible at this thing. And it's okay. And it's okay for you that's brand new, that probably feels like you're terrible at everything. Don't worry about it. Keep showing up. It's part of the process. We're good to go. I think that lesson, and that was the hardest lesson for me to learn. And I'm sure it was the same with you, where you were good at the sports that you played. And if you weren't good at the sport, you probably didn't play it because you thought it was dumb. I know that was for me. I was like, if I'm not good at this naturally, this is probably stupid. I don't know why I ever do it.
Dumb.
It's so stupid.
Well, I
Who would
think as
play this?
coaches, we get caught up in this trap of thinking that we have to be this certain thing. Like, on this
Yes.
pedestal, we have to perform a certain way, we have to move a certain way, we have to look a certain, like, all of these things have to happen. And if that's not happening, then we kind of hide it so that the members don't see our weaknesses, or people don't see where we're struggling. And ultimately, if we show that, and we show that we're continuing to work on things, that is coaching them as well. It's not a direct coaching them. Like, we're not saying, hey, get your elbows up, but they're seeing us do things. That's the leading by example. And I know, one of the things you said, Chase, is just about some of the best coaches that you've had have been like overweight, out of shape,
Just a bunch of fat old guys,
right? And
like, why are you teaching me how to swim?
Right, exactly. And there's a lot of coaches that we work with, and I can think of several in particular that just struggle with the fact maybe they're coming off an injury, or they're just not as like quote fit as they used to
Mhm.
be, and really struggle with getting in front of their people and feeling like they have that authority to coach people if they can't do the thing that they're coaching. And it's like, that's
Yes.
not what it's about.
I would
So,
say that's the biggest struggle I see from a lot of coaches or even owners is that they feel like they have to be a certain level of fitness to be able to coach CrossFit or to coach a class or to be respected as a coach. And it's like, I see why you would think that.
mhm.
However, that is so far beyond the reality of the world. And when it comes to coaching, because it doesn't matter if you have all of these things that are needed to be a good coach. And people almost like self-select their own value as a coach to their members because they don't, like you said, look, dress, perform, strength. Like, oh, I can't do a muscle up. I can't teach one. I was like, says who?
And nobody cares if you can do a muscle up. They care if you can get them to do a muscle up,
Right.
right? I don't really like, it's impressive. It's great. Chase has a muscle up. More importantly, show me how to do that.
Yes.
And look, that obviously doesn't mean that as coaches, we're just going to be like, well, I don't have to do any of it. I'm just going to sit on my lazy boy in the corner and just tell the people what to do. It's
Mhm.
not about that at all. But some of the things you mentioned earlier, the best coaches you've ever had, they have the presence, they care, they have interactions and genuine exchanges with their people. They know what their why is. Like, those things are so much more important than just getting in front of the room and being like, here's how you do a muscle up. Now you
I
guys
tell that,
do it.
I tell that every coach that I ever had at my affiliate was, do I like you? Like, are you fun for a fun person to hang out with? Do people enjoy like you and being around? Like the last thing on the list is like, do you know the progression for a push jerk? It's like, because
We can
I
do
can't teach you. I know this is a motto for a lot of us. Is like, I can't teach you how to give a shit about other people. Right? I can't teach you to care. I can't teach you how to work hard. I can't teach you as someone who just wants to show up. I can't teach that. I can teach you everything else when it comes to just coaching movement. But until you have that, that's not the core for a great coach. Because if you don't have that internal part of care, compassion, presence, attitude, and that just constant drive for service and to help others, I don't care if you know how to teach the snatch. If nobody likes to be around you.
They're not going to come to your class, and it doesn't matter. And I think kind of what you said just answers this to some degree, but Melissa makes a point, and she was saying how some coaches, pulled up the previous comment a second ago, that some coaches feel like it makes them somewhat less qualified if they can't RX it. But she also says she's got several coaches at her gym that do that. They do not scale properly, and it's been tough to bring it up to them. So if you had a coach, or did you ever have coaches at your gym that were the ones that were like, no, I'm RX, even if, Fran takes me 16 minutes,
Yep.
I'm doing it RX. How did you handle that?
So, not to punt to like explaining what the whole point of today's workout is like, if you did Fran and it took you 16 minutes, like, you didn't do Fran. You did thrusters and pull-ups. It's like, I ran a marathon. It's like, how long did it take? It's like 17 hours. Like, no, you walked 26.2 miles. There's a difference.
Yeah.
And I think the best thing you can do as a coach for members is to show that reality of where you're at. It's like, how can you tell everybody else to do this thing if you're not willing to do it too? It's like, hey, we're doing Fran. We're trying to get under 5. Like, that's step 1 goal. Now, if you've done it RX before and you've been above, today's the day. We're getting below. If you've done scaled and you've been under 4, maybe we're going to bump the weight up today. Right? You're trying to hit this sweet spot in the stimulus of the day. What are we trying to achieve? It's like, well, we're trying to achieve max intensity to a 3 to 5 minute effort. Cool. What do we need to do to get here? And if we don't do that, we didn't achieve what the purpose of today's workout was. Whether it's a couplet, a Metcon, something long, like heavy, whatever it is, like, there's a purpose to every single day. It's varied, but there's always a purpose. So if we understand that and show that how valuable it is or how vital it is to achieve what the goal of the day is, like those coaches, and you have to tell them is like, how can you sit there and tell other people what to do if you're not willing to do the same thing? Like there's a hypocrisy to that you truly need to understand. And having that real conversation in a much more, I would say, articulate way than that.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, hypocrite. Like that's probably not going to work out very well. It's like, listen, I get it. I know you think that you need to be RX'd because you're a coach. It's like, it doesn't matter. In fact, it will mean so much more to your class to show is like, hey guys, look, I scaled.
Right.
And it sucked just as much as it would have been had I not. And I feel better about it. So like that relation, it's a two-way street. It's not just coaches talking to members.
Yeah.
It's a back and forth. It's a give and take, and to show that realness. And I won't say vulnerability because no one should be vulnerable. Like it's not like the deepest, darkest secret that you're not trying to get out. It's like, yeah, guys, look, I suck at deadlifts.
Yeah, but it is. But for some people it is. And it like it's more vulnerable than a lot of people want to put out there and show, right? Most of the stuff that we're not good at, we don't put on display, and we don't go and write it on the board or put it on an app that everybody across, all your classes can take a look at. So as much as like, there is a part of that where we're like, it's just a workout. Who cares? You can't do it RX. Who gives a crap? Like it doesn't matter, but it's such a big thing in people's lives that it becomes
because they
challenging.
tie it to something else.
Right.
There's always
which goes back to the why. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. We come back to the why. It's like, oh, well, if I fail, then I am a failure because the way I internalize not being good at something is when I was growing up through middle school and high school. Like it's wild how deep that rabbit hole goes. And then you're like, hey, guess what? Hey, you see how you failed? What happened today? Nothing. Like, oh, it's not as bad as I thought. Oh, I'm not as vulnerable as I thought I was. I thought this meant I wasn't good enough for, whatever it was. Is like, there's so much tied personally to how people react or feel to what happens in a CrossFit gym, and to be able to like work through that too. Like we're talking about working out, yet now we're talking about like psychology.
Oh yeah.
It's so wild.
It's so funny because as you're describing that, I'm thinking like what people feel like when they scale or when they're bad at a workout is like, I'm sure the way inside and in their brain, the way they're thinking is like, everybody's going to look and laugh at me. Like if I'm the last person to finish and I'm doing those last 10 burpees by myself, everybody in the gym's going to come and point and laugh as I'm finishing going, you're such a loser. But guess what actually happens in the CrossFit gym when you're the last person to finish? When people gather around you, what do? They clap their hands and they cheer you on, and they do reps with you because they've been there. It's so funny what our brain, the stories we tell ourselves versus the reality of what's actually happening.
The 5 a.m. class always thought that the 5 p.m. class would like laugh and point at their scores.
Yeah.
Like, don't put my workout time on the board. I'm like,
I don't want everyone to see it.
Yeah. It's like, who cares? It's so funny.
Oh man.
And yet we have yet to talk about like how to do technique and coaching cues.
Yes, exactly. And this is some of the most valuable stuff. And I think there's a tough balance. I know I've talked about this before. When I started coaching, I was so concerned about the cues and the progressions and the points of performance that I couldn't be present and like interact and meet with the individual with where they're at, because I was too much like, no, Chase, your feet need to be wider, your knees need to be out harder. And I, couldn't realize that you'd walked in with a terrible day. And this was a day that I just should have been praising you and thanking you for being there. But instead I'm like, nope, that doesn't count. Throw the wall ball again. You got to get lower. It's
I have
no rep.
This person probably doesn't even remember this day, but this is probably one of my bigger lessons as a coach in this genre, like this topic we're talking about, is like knowing where everybody's coming in, right? Like knowing where everybody's at, because the way I walk into a gym every day might seem like this, but it's not, right? Like whatever you see on the screen, I could be having a horrible day and no one will know. And that's just the way I operate. Right. So, man, I was first couple of months into coaching, 8:30 mom's class, Chatty Cathy's, we know it. And there's always this one woman who would come in 5 to 10 minutes late, talk during the whiteboard brief. And then when it was all over, they come up to you like, hey, what are we doing? Or they do the wrong thing and warm up. And so I had it with this person, and she comes in little later than usual, is not paying attention to anything. I'm like, all right, everybody grab a med ball. She grabs a kettlebell, and I can't even remember her name, but I was just like, let's just say Sarah. Sorry, Sarah's out there, but I'm just using. And I was just like, what do I have to do to get you to just pay attention one time in class? And it was just breakdown out of the gym. And I was like, whatever. Come to find out, her dad died the day before, and this was the only place she wanted to go to.
Oh,
And like, I'll never forget that.
that makes me feel like I want to cry just to think
Now,
about
is that my fault that I should have known? I was like, no, but I recognized something was different, but
Right.
I had already put myself in the position of like, today's the day. Sarah,
You'd already told yourself a story of why she's doing it, and most of the time it's like it's about you, where you're like, she's disrespecting me.
Right,
She
yeah.
doesn't
Shows up
respect my
late.
authority.
She doesn't. And what is like, she shows up late because it's like she drops the kids off and it's as early as she can get there. She doesn't pay attention because, maybe her dad's been sick for the last year, and this is to where she just can talk to her friends finally in person, not on a cell phone. And this is just like the only place that she can go for an hour and not have to think about everything that else is going wrong in her life. And all I see is this disrespectful late person who talks while I'm talking, never pays attention to me, and has no respect for my position in this gym. And I never took the opportunity to just be like, hey, how's it going? It's like,
What's going on?
like, I know we're always
see you
rolling
show
late.
up late.
Right.
Yeah.
That's you look a little, and that was me. It's funny because that was almost 17 years ago. And I remember that moment, and it was a good lesson learned.
Yeah.
But man, that's an example. The other one I had is I was yelling. This guy's doing box jumps in the gym. And he's wasn't standing up all the way on the box. And I'm like yelling at him. Like just yelling at him because I was just having a day. And then finally he turned and he just he couldn't hear for some reason. He was I was screaming at him. He's like, it's I can't hear you. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I should have just stepped in front of you and took the extra second to just not scream across the gym. And I've had so many of those moments, especially when I first started coaching. I was so young and inexperienced in the gym, and just I'm talking to people who are my dad's age. It's I have no position to tell you what to do. And just all of those things, and like I said, it's just all stories in our head that we talk about, and we should reach out more.
and I think this is
a two-way thing.
It's a journey more than likely most coaches can relate to. I can certainly, where we're dealing with our own insecurities of me standing up in front of these people, and I'm new at this, and I'm trying to get them to listen, and they're not listening. And there's a lot of military people in my community. And so a lot of the coaches would struggle because they're in the military and they're in a certain rank. And then they have someone that outranks them as a member in the gym. And so then there's that dynamic where it's well, now I'm the one trying to tell them what to do, and they're not really listening. It's just, there's so many different layers that can be pulled apart. And ultimately, very, very little of it is about them disrespecting us or it being personal to us. And I have a story, not exactly like yours, but you're telling your story and I'm thinking, oh, I remember mine, my version of that, where I'm in the same class, 9 a.m. class, no one's listening. And I'm just slam my dumbbell down and I'm like, guys, and just kind of yelled at them all. And after I'm like, what? That was the worst. That was so unprofessional. They all just got this look on their face. I just scolded them like children. And it just is it's a learning moment where we can just take it and be like, okay, what just happened there? what was it about for me that made me react that way? And how can I do things differently moving forward?
And that's the ego part is,
Mm-hmm.
listen, I'm not perfect. And I see that as a dad a lot with my kids is that anytime, like, I don't know what I'm doing, guys. Like, I'm trying my best here. And like, I've yelled at my kids for something they were doing and they're just like, no, this is what happened. I'm like, oh, well, shoot, man. Like,
My
and
bad.
the best thing I can do with them is be like, I apologize to them or I tell them they were actually right and I was wrong. And man, what that does for that relationship is so like world changing. Like, oh, it's like dad was wrong. It's like, yeah, dad was wrong. Like dad can be wrong. Coach can be wrong. I misread the situation. I should have done like when you bring that to the table, we talk about building trust. When you can tell an athlete that you fucked up, man, they're like, whoa. It's like, yeah. It's
My
like,
bad. Yeah.
I'm a person, you're a person. It's not coach athlete, right? It is. But at the same time, it's also like the person to person connection is so valuable. And then again, like attaching that why, them seeing like you care about them on a, like, I do care about you on a personal level. Like every person that walked in them, like it was personal to me, which was also hard when like people left. It's like, damn, that sucks. Like I really,
I can't believe you're leaving me. I can't believe
yeah,
you're breaking up. You're leaving me.
Breaking up with me.
like,
Yeah.
I got a new job. I'm like, I'm supposed to be happy for you, but
God,
You
I
need to
know.
work
Even
remotely.
like I'm not an affiliate owner and I never have been, but even when you have a member that usually comes to your class and all of a sudden you find out they're going to a different class time, it's like, why?
yeah.
What did I do? And it's like, no, my schedule changed. I can't make it to that class anymore.
Yeah. Okay, what is this?
All right. So yeah. So clearly there are those one-off scenarios where somebody's not paying attention because there's stuff going on. Allie's asking if we've got a large group, they're not paying attention. How do you rein them in? How do you get attention? How do you manage a group that's just like, it's not a one-off
Yeah.
scenario. It's just the chaotic of like, nobody's paying attention. And I see this maybe a lot of times from like either newer coaches or more soft-spoken coaches.
Mm.
What do you got
Yeah.
for that?
I mean, that is a scenario where you do need to step in and really kind of assert yourself as like, hey guys, give me 5 minutes. Let's walk through this. Like, hey, I see we're talking. Let's just hit this for 3 to 5 minutes. Warm up. We'll go back to partying, having fun, and catching up. Right. But right now, this is really important. Like, you do have to, like, you are the coach. And as much as we want this personal connection, the reality is, and what it needs to be is like, I am the coach. You are the athlete. In this situation, like you do have to establish that in itself. That for a new coach is unfair to make them do that. Right. So maybe there's a couple times where the owner needs to be there or another coach is either around or taking that class, gives them that support to do that. And the best thing you can have is a member that has been long standing there that will help facilitate that for you too.
Agreed.
And so like that relationship, like everybody has those core. There's a core group, whoever they are. Usually they're spread out. It's most of them in the 5M class for whatever reason. You're just the psychopaths. But like finding out who those people are and just really like putting yourselves in that position of this is more of a respect thing is like, let's just dial it in. And then we can go back to like, I don't want to talk for 5 minutes alone in silence. I don't care to do that. People would argue against that. Maybe I would, but you know, I could talk to a wall.
No, but I mean,
that is the
building
thing
in
that
time, right? Like you're building in time in the class that they are going to be able to chat with each other and talk to each other and visit with each other. It's not going to be a drill sergeant from start to finish, you know, but I also like the idea of just, it's okay to talk to some of your people before class and be like, hey, this class gets pretty chatty. I'm going to ask you to help me out a little bit. When I'm pulling everyone in, can you look to your left, look to your right, and just like kind of help me pull people in?
Yeah.
And giving people a specific job like that can make people feel great about being able to help you. And then it starts to establish like, okay, when the coach is projecting and asking people to come in or eyes on me, then that establishes the tone of the class that we're going to stop, we're going to listen, and then we can go back to chatting with each other.
Yeah. It's, especially for new coaches. I do this as a coach. I also do this as a parent. And this was someone I can't remember some coach, I think it was either, it's like, you can't get more strict. Like as a coach and a parent, like you can't, like if you come in as the passive fun guy,
they're going to walk all over you.
Right?
Yeah.
You've already established a baseline of where you see yourself, right? If you don't see yourself as a person of authority or a person of a position as like a coach or a parent, if you don't even see yourself as that, people will eat you alive. And so as a parent or as a coach, is that I usually start a bit more strict and disciplined because I can always reel it back. But you cannot go the other way. You can't be happy. Everybody's cool. Yeah, talk all you want. Show up late, fun guy. And then one day is like, you know what? No more.
F you.
Yeah, like,
I'm the cool mom. I'm not like other moms. Yeah, I think that's great strategy for newer coaches too. Yeah.
You have to. And it's like, well, I'm quiet, I'm passive. Like you can't be that. Right. At least not to start the class. Everything needs to start. What's the most important 5 minutes of a level 1 or level 2 seminar is the first 5 minutes the flow master goes up and they will set the tone for the rest of the weekend. If it is a bad start from the flow master, it will not recover. It just won't. But man, if you hit it hard, and I'm not just like, sit down and shut up. It's like, get out there and be like, all right, guys, coming in. Let's talk about this shitty workout for a second. I'm like, oh, it's a shitty workout? It's like, no, I'm just kidding. Like, maybe. And just, you gotta establish that early, and then you can be fun guy. Because as long as people know where the starting point is, it's like, hey, when I say come in, stop talking, listen, and then we can go have fun, right? I want this to be fun. It's way more easy to go hard when you're having fun versus being yelled at or screamed at or you just hate every second of it. It's that's a big thing. And if they haven't established that yet, then you need to help establish that for them, either as a coach, owner, or like we said, talk to a longstanding member. But they have to change. It's not other people's job to do their job for them.
Yeah. And once we establish that it's okay to, if I'm the coach and I'm delivering information, I'm trying to yell out to people, or I'm starting the pull-up progression instruction, and there's people over here chatting and there's people over here chatting, and I'm continuing to do it. It's just establishing the
call
tone.
it out.
Like, this is the way that it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they're talking back. I'm like, okay, guys, get in closer. It's easy to talk more further away, but bring them in.
And don't be afraid that, like I always say, that don't be surprised at how loud silence can be. You're the coach and you just stop talking because nobody's paying attention. There's going to be a few people that are like, I want to move forward with this. And if you're just standing there, like looking at everybody, sooner or later, they're going to elbow the guy and be like, hey, will you shut up?
They hit the person beside them like, shut up.
Yeah. And I think the newer coaches, especially, are the more soft-spoken ones, think they need to talk over everybody. And so they start yelling, and the people talking start talking louder to avoid, so they can still hear each other. And the noise gets louder and louder. Whereas the reality is like, you can just stop and be like, all right, I'll stand here until you guys pay attention and you're ready to follow along. And
that's a good one.
Yeah. Well, we haven't even gotten at all to where we had planned on going, talking about the open.
My bad.
This has been great. That just means we'll have to get you back before the open starts, probably a little bit closer to open time. What do we got here?
Yeah, I like that.
Let's just do that. Stop and stare and create as much awkwardness as possible. Yep, I think that's an easy way to do it.
Turn the music off.
Oh man, the worst, right? Turn the music off. Everybody's like, what is going on right here?
It's like, hey guys, come on.
Yeah, James's strategy, I think you put it up here a couple minutes ago. I'll do that all the time. Like 3, 2, and everybody just stops and panics. And yeah, it's like
all of a sudden they're ready to pay attention.
I know we're almost at the top of the hour, so I don't know how much we want to dive in to the open, but the connection here for me is that the work we put in all year long, making these connections, building trust, creating this environment where people not only trust you to steer them well, but it's okay to fail and it's okay to
Yes.
try things. And that does nothing but lead us right into that few weeks of the open where now we're asking people to do things that we may not normally be asking them to
Yeah.
do,
The
and having
key
the
is
community all come
all
together.
year you've been doing it.
Hmm.
All year you should have been doing it. And now that we coach to prep for the open,
Right.
but when it's like, oh, how do I get more people to buy in? It's like, well, did you just start promoting it in February or 2 weeks before? It's like, all right, guys, time to lock in. Or here's a surprise competition you never wanted to sign up for. You already have enough trouble just walking into this gym because it's too intimidating for you to fail or whatever it is that makes you nervous about working out only.
Now we're gonna put a judge next to you and have
Now
to count every single
we're gonna
rep that
And-
you
put your
do.
name on a leader. You don't like being on the whiteboard? Well, guess, welcome to the internet.
where 50 people, 50 people see you. Let's
Yeah.
put you out there where that is so funny about the open, where I'm like, you put your score in and you assume that people are searching for Todd Okudo,
Right.
just like they were for Matt Frazier, Rich Roney. And I'm like, hey, by the way, the only people looking my name up are the ones that already text the score to, because we've got a side bet of what's going on, right? Like nobody's searching the leaderboard to see how I did in that open workout.
Yeah.
Nobody
Like your
cares.
random bully from high school is going to be like page 1026. Really?
I knew it. I got it.
1,000.
That's all we got. So, but yeah, it's the buy-in that's huge. And if it's just the conversation of is like, how do we get more people to buy into the open? The open is my favorite time of year when it comes to working out, because I never learn more about myself than I will in a competition or a setting where I am forced to do something where there's really no outlets. Like I could outlet my intensity or outlet my effort, but when it's the open, I'm like, oh damn, I can't really. I want to, but I also it's a challenge. And when you can get the athletes to do that on a daily basis for the workout, is like, listen, don't worry about sucking at this. Like, let's just go for it. Hey, today's wheels off day. I want to see where we're at, and you just have fun through the year. And then it's like, all right, guys, now we're really going to try something new, and you're going to learn so much about yourself. You're going to learn about, it's like, hey, remember when we were skipping their pull-up days for the last year, and then you got stuck here and you got really frustrated? Well, guess what? It's like, don't let that happen again. Here's why. Here's what we can do, and this is awesome. And you can't spring that on your members. You have to be fostering that trust that this will be a cool thing for us to do together that they'll want to sign up for, without you just like holding them at gunpoint to pay $20 to do the open.
Yeah, do this thing. It is, and it's interesting because we've just spent the last hour talking about getting to know your athletes' why, trying to convince them to meet the stimulus of the workout, do the reps and the movement and the loading that's appropriate for them. And then all of a sudden the open does happen. And if they are bought in and we can convince them, then it's like, well, the RX version's this, I think we go for it. And you're like, it's the one time of year where I push scaling a little bit to the edge, as long as it's not something that I'm
training.
Yes, this is
Test versus train. Yep. Test.
And as long as it's not something that I'm worried about being risky for injury, it's like, hey, normally there's a stimulus and it's, hey, it's a 20-minute AMRAP. I want you to get 5 rounds. Well, I'm going to let you do it RX today, knowing you're going to push hard to get to 3 rounds. That's really not the intention of this, but let's see what happens right here. And I think it's fun to do that, but I do think that we as coaches and as affiliate owners need to know that this is a one-off scenario, and we can't take the approach that we take to the open to all of our other workouts throughout the rest of the year, right?
But I think that's why you throw in benchmark workouts throughout the year, or you, like when you have that conversation of, hey, what we're chasing, what we're doing in the training aspect. What's so fun is like, all right, 26.1 rolls out. And like, guys, guess what? I don't give a shit about stimulus today. Like, what? I'm like, we're just going for it. RX or die. Like, let's just see where you're at. I know you can do this scaled thing. I know that. Let's get out of our comfort zone a little bit today. Like, let's see what we're capable of. You've been doing and that, again, everything that we've been talking about for the last hour. when you build that trust, when you build those relationships, when they start to believe the things that you're telling them, it's really easy to tell them in the open that we're just going to throw this out the window today. I'm like, oh, dang. Well, I trust you.
Yep.
Right.
Because you've been working with me for this entire time versus you never build that relationship. You're always just trying to say this one thing. It's like, but you always say this one thing. And now I like, you've been just talking to me or at me or telling me what to do. Well, no, I don't want to sign up for the open. Right. Or I don't want to put myself in that position because they think it means more because it's something official that you sign up for and you do this. Is like, no, yeah, this does mean more. But what it means is it gives you an opportunity to really like all this stuff we've been doing for the last 6 months. Now we get to try something new or to test ourselves in a way we've never been tested. And you're okay with failing. You're okay with being bad because we've established that all of those things are the whole point to begin with.
And it just makes it fun to have something on the line.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And one of my favorite open experiences is, I'm trying to think of what it was. I think it was when the year, and Chase, you probably know this, where it was dumbbell front squats and burpees over the dumbbell. And then it was like a 1 rep max clean
18,
or something like that.
18-1 and 18-1B or something.
Or something like that. And my mom
and the clean and jerk was after
after that. Yes. And like my mom, the time cap of the burpees and the whatever was 10 minutes or whatever it was. And like my mom did it. So she saw some other people do it. And then she's like, I think I could have got a couple more burpees or something like that. And she came back and retested an open workout like on a Monday, like burpees and squats and a clean and jerk. And I'm like, there's clearly no reason. This doesn't matter. Nobody's looking at your score. And you're like, I want 4 more burpees. I'm going to come back and redo this thing.
Mission
like,
accomplished.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
How cool is that? Because it matters. As soon as you sign up and you put your score on a worldwide leaderboard, even though nobody's searching for it, except for, I guess, Steven and Jess now and Ryan are going to be looking at mine.
Now you're
I poked the bear. It's going to happen. But nobody really cares. But the pressure on, so you want to perform your best. It's like, it's the only time during the year where I get nervous before a workout. And I'm like, I know as the clock's counting down, I'm like, you dummy. What is your problem right now? Why do you care? This doesn't matter. But I'm like, I got butterflies. And it's nice to feel that way because, it's been years since I felt that way playing a sport or doing something physical.
And the thing is, I mean, the percentage of people who have never played a sport or come to the gym, it's like, guys, you have the coolest like, I'm so nervous. I'm like, and how cool is that?
Right.
Like, I'm not competitive. I'm like, you don't think so? You think
that's
not competitive with other people. I promise you it's in there somewhere. Because if you weren't, you wouldn't be here.
Yep.
Like if you didn't walk into the CrossFit gym, you are competitive because you want to be better. Period. That's being competitive. What does this say? I searched Chase one year and instantly realized he's still related.
Hey man, former games athlete. Those things don't happen by accident. I don't care what year it was.
Games athlete.
It may not be as fit as you were when you were at the games, but you're still much fitter than most.
I tell you what, I would argue that I am fitter than I was at the CrossFit Games.
Okay. And I know where you're going with that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was
just because
gosh, this is 2010, so I was 27 by the time the games roll around. I'm 43 now. Like I could beat my Amanda score.
Dude, I will tell you, I was hoping you'd bring that up because that is my all-time favorite CrossFit Games workout. Like anybody listen to this, if you haven't watched Amanda the first time it got programmed on Friday night at the 2010 games, it just melts your brain on how effective the program is and how fit people have gotten. I remember watching that thing. It was crazy.
That little like circle rig in the center.
Yep.
Like this, so when you go back, it's like it was so sad.
There's like
just how much
25 people in the stands.
All the lanes and like your barbell can't even drift 2 inches over, and they're just all over the whole entire stadium trying to catch the snatches and like
it was
walking.
ridiculous. I remember being down there, and this is the year where they announced them maybe like an hour or so before the events would go down. Yeah, that's when Khalip almost killed a cameraman.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know if I beat him in that. I think we were close. But I remember because muscle ups were more of a thing that you did with a false grip, and we all did them strict.
Mm-hmm.
No one kipped
yeah.
the muscle up.
No big swings, like a little bit of hip action. Like if you watch that video.
And so Dave Castro being Dave Castro, I'm down there and I'm looking at Jason Galipa and like Ben Smith and Chris Field. I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, how did I even get here? And he's like, all right, we're doing ring muscle ups and squat snatches. And it's like, oh, okay. He's like, but we're going to get everybody's height and we're going to raise it like 12 inches out of your outstretched hand. I was like, what?
So how do I get my ball?
How do I get my And
Can
in
we
an
pull
hour,
rocks over and stand?
yeah, in an
The judge
hour,
will boost you up.
Oh, like the previous.
yeah, they'll put you. And so we're like, that's where everybody is downstairs at the Home Depot Center is what it was called at the time in Carson, learning how to kip a ring muscle up without a false grip, which is what everybody does now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
We had to learn that in an hour on the fly. And we all look pretty ridiculous out there if you go back and watch the video.
Still awesome. Still the best.
But
that's
I
when
remember
Camille
that
first made her debut came out, and everyone, it's like, who is this? Because she just came out and grabbed the rings and just like busted all of her muscles up out. Yeah.
It was man, that was so cool. That was my favorite. That's probably my favorite all-time CrossFit moment because they would call you out one by one for your heat. And so being able to make the CrossFit Games was a huge thing for me because, I mean, any athlete wants to make the pinnacle of whatever their sport is. And I just never did it. I won state a couple times in like water polo on a team, but my individual swimming career wasn't really that impressive. I wanted to be a football player like my dad, and that didn't work out. And man, this was such a cool thing for me because I got to finally like do something that I always wanted to do for my dad, which was to like prove him like right or make him proud or like, I don't know what it is. Like he put so much into me as a kid and I've always felt bad. I never got him the payoff.
A little bit of your why, huh?
Yes. Huge. Like, yeah, huge why. And to be in a stadium under the lights, have a little highlight video of you playing a jumbo board and you walk out of these curtains. Like if you see me come out, I am like the most absurd. I'm in Captain America.
Out.
I jump out like a boy band coming on stage. But I got to walk to my lane and I see my dad and point to him in the stands and like to hear like just I'm thinking as a dad to be able to hear my son's name called at like the pinnacle of whatever he wants to do from whatever, like sports, school. Like for me, that would be all time. And to finally be able to do that for my dad, like I will forever love Amanda. And then 2 minutes later, I was cut. So like, that's really all I had to remember from the CrossFit game.
That was your winning moment at the CrossFit Games.
It was more just like that was the only moment I had, but it's all.
And you did good at that event relatively, right? That was your best event.
That was my best event.
Nice.
And then the did not happen after that.
Well, this has been awesome, man. We
sorry we talked about nothing that you wanted to talk about.
No, we will get you back in another month or two and
I'll just push my way back on the show.
Yeah, for sure. I know there's a lot of places where people can find you, but where can people find you?
You can just find me. Instagram is probably the easiest way to get a hold of me. Chase_Ingraham. It's not quite as hard to spell as Todd's last name, but it is a little different than a regular Ingram.
Just like it sounds.
And then our podcast that I do with Bill Grundler with Get With The Programming. And then, find us on the Sport of Fitness podcast every Wednesday at noon.
Hell yeah.
That's where you'll find me. It's pretty, there's a little too much of it, me out there. I think chasing or fatigue might be setting in for people.
No way.
But and it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard is people that were around anywhere that I was and were like, oh, I didn't want to come say hi and bother you. I was like, that's the most ridiculous thing. It's like, please come say hi because I would come say hi to the people that I wanted to see. And I do. It's message me.
Flattering.
It is, right? And that's the whole point of this community, is like none of us are above, below, like we're all in this together. Like fitness is the great equalizer, which is why it's so funny to talk about like ranks in the military, or people's like, it doesn't matter. Like you can either do a push-up or you can't, and I'm going to teach you how to do it. Like that's the whole beauty of CrossFit, that it puts us all on a level playing field. And if we're willing to show, work hard and keep going, is like, that's the only thing we really care about and judge each other on. And so, yeah, please come say hi, because I would want the same thing if I were in your position. So reach out, please.
Love it.
Awesome.
Thanks, Chase. This
Well,
is awesome.
Yeah, guys, thanks. That was super fun.
Yeah, we'll have you on again soon. Thanks, man.
Anytime.
Thank you for checking out this episode of the Best Hour of Their Day podcast. Now, if you're a coach who wants to coach more effectively, impact your members, and advance your career, then the Knowledge Pro is the next step. Inside, you'll get hundreds of coaching videos, weekly calls with level 4 coaches, and direct feedback on your coaching. From homework reviews to full class breakdowns, we do it all. This is the best way to grow as a coach and take your skills to the next level. Now you can join the Knowledge Pro at besthouroftheirday.com/the-knowledge. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen. Now keep coaching, keep improving, and we'll see you next time.